you're probably asking, what are those strange cave-like structures? But I'm going to take you to that location, have a closer look at them. But today I'm at the Undercliff Cemetery here in Bradford, and this is the main promenade. That's the west side. It's got a beautiful backdrop of Bradford, and you've got the east side. And this is the area where notably the former mayors, mill owners, politicians and influencers are buried here from the Victorian times. And I've got a lot of respect for a lot of these people because they didn't need social media, they didn't need TikTok or Instagram to become influencers. They did it the hard way. So just near the Illingworth Memorial, which looks quite Egyptian-like, I'm going to meet Andrew and we'll start the story.
Today we've come to visit a certain gentleman, Sir Isaac Holden, and we're in Undercliff Cemetery, and just here to my left is the family grave. For anybody that knows Undercliff, it's situated right next to the Egyptian temple, as we affectionately call it. But this is a picture of Isaac Holden in his later years. Now, Isaac was more than what you see on the surface, really, because we have a lot of famous people in Bradford. You've got your listers and these people that we talk about quite a bit. But actually, Isaac's in the sort of background. He was an MP. He was born in 1807 in Glasgow, a place called Hurlet. And he died in 1897 in Oakworth in Keighley. And what we'll do is a bit later on we will show you a little bit about his life over in Oakworth, where he used to live. Now, he died aged 91 in 1897. He'd also been married twice, and what I can show you, with respect obviously, his name is there, Sir Isaac Holden, died 1897, but also his wife's mentioned, Marion. Now, Marion was his first wife, because later on he remarried, and Sarah, his second wife, is mentioned just there on the side. Now, the thing about Isaac is that he was also an inventor and a manufacturer all at the same time, and it's said that he invented what's called the Lucifer match, but he's more famous for teaming up with Samuel Lister of Lister's Mill, Manningham Mills fame, and between them they invented what's called the square motion combing machine, and it actually revolutionised that particular process in the woolen trade and manufacture. Now, in 1848 they set up the firm Lister and Holden. They had a factory, if you like, in Girlington, Alston Works, which is quite an unusual name. Alston, I didn't know where they sort of dragged that name from, so just having a little bit of an investigation, and Alston was a farm that his father owned up in Cumberland, so he's obviously had fond memories, and that's the works got that name. We have such a famous, unfamous man here, really. You can see obviously lots of wealth. One of the larger tombs in Undercliff, but nobody really talks about him.
No.
I think that's a bit of a pity, really. I do know that the machine that himself and Samuel Lister came up with, there is a example of that in the Bradford Industrial Museum, and maybe we can have a look at that whilst we're in the area.
Sure. He's well respected in the sense that he's built himself up from scratch as well, which is another key feature about his life.
This is it. I mean, his father came from humble beginnings. I believe, I think he was a miner from what I've read.
Yeah.
But yeah, from that to then have his own works, which were really big at the time. But also what's interesting is his works were opposite Daniel Illingworth's, which is another big mill name.
Yeah.
But ironically, the grave next door is Daniel Illingworth. So not only was he at a factory literally across the road, he's buried next to him. So you can see Daniel Illingworth there, another major. But I do know that there was a marriage somewhere between families, because there is a mention of Holden on there as well.
Let's have a look.
So you've got an Albert Holden.
So the person buried in that Egyptian tomb could be his son?
Well, that's an Illingworth.
Yeah, so there's...
Yeah, I'm not over sure about that, but there's obviously some connection.
Connection there, yeah.
Been to see Isaac Holden, and I did mention in the last part of the film that he was an inventor, and with Samuel Cunliffe Lister of Lister's Mill, this is the machine that they designed that revolutionized this kind of work. So this is the square motion comb. So as you can see, this is what he's famous for, even though nobody really talks about him. So again, the machine for separating the fibres of the woolen industry. And just a bit of proof really of that combination of these two highly respected businessmen. The square motion combing machine and its origin between Mr. Lister and Mr. Holden of Bradford. We've been kindly lent by one of our subscribers this token. Okay, and it says Isaac Holden Alston Works on it. This is probably something that was paid to employees at the factory, and the Alston Works was at Girlington in Bradford, and what used to happen was they used to pay the workforce, but by the time they got home, a lot of the workforce would go to the pub, so there'd be nothing left for paying the bills, the rents and things like that. So a lot of factories used to do this, where they would pay part in tokens and pay part in cash, and you had a beer token. You go spend this rather than all your wage, so you were restricted on what you could do.
What's on the other side of the coin? Is there anything else?
At the moment, it's just fairly plain, it's like a laurel wreath design.
Right.
But yeah, it was just another way of paying people to make sure they had some money left.
Yeah, let's see if we get you more light on this.
So here we are in Oakworth, and Oakworth is the next village on from the famous Haworth, and we've come to see what's left of Isaac Holden's house. And I'm sure you'll have a little bit of a surprise. It's now a park, is the area, but if we have a wander along the main street, this is Cone Road, and there we go. This is the gates of Isaac Holden's house. Now, what you can't see is that the house is now long gone. It actually burnt down around about 1909, I believe. but what's left is what we'll have a wander around and have a look at. Is the main sort of entrance foyer of the house. So if we just carefully watch the road, quite a busy road is this one. Okay.
Right, let's just have a look at this entrance close up.
So you can see there's quite a few features still, but this is when it was opened as a park, 1925. So it was actually left vacant, the house, for quite a number of years after Isaac Holden died. Then after the fire, ended up demolishing the house, and you have the park, which is for the people. So this is his driveway, if you like. It's like a turning circle.
Absolutely gorgeous.
But you can see all the features.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a grotto. One of the articles actually says that a lot of these rocks were blasted out of the ground, which was later made the foundations of the house.
Right.
So there's still a connection to the old house with what's left.
Right, let's have a look at this one here.
It's interesting because I don't think a lot of people make that connection with it being a Bradford mill owner.
Yeah.
But here's a statue of him. Born 1807 in Glasgow area and died here in 1897.
Right, let's have a walk around.
So yes, let's have a wander.
I'm guessing this is looked after by the council, Bradford
It's
Council?
now, Bradford Council, and you can see it's Holden Park.
Yeah.
So kept the name of him. But it has a few quirky features, does this place. It also has blue plaque status.
Right, we'll have a look at that.
So this is the entrance foyer to the house. So this is where the coach would come in and drop off Mr. Holden and his family, which is quite incredible, really. The only true bit of the house that still remains, but as you can see, it shares with the war memorial for Oakworth as well. And it's quite a peaceful setting. We do have a busy main road just out there, but you can just about appreciate the tranquility. We've got a coat of arms up there as well, I'm guessing, of Holden.
And across here, Andrew, is the bowling green, yeah?
That's right, yeah. So if you think, that's the surface area of the house.
Right.
So it's very sort of Milner Fields feel to it all.
Yeah.
It was a huge house. I have a map here that shows. So we're stood just on the steps of the entrance. So all this area would have been where the house stood.
Because you can see the cave type features there, can't you? Going all the way across.
Oh, you'll have a surprise in a moment when we have a walk around. There's actually quite a unique feature to this area. Obviously the house is, as you can see, long gone, but there's a feature in the park which people that live around here know about, and sort of in the Keighley area, but we just wanted to give you a bit of an idea. It's a bit like a grotto. I think that's the best way of explaining it. All made out of stone. Now you can see it's It's kind of plaster work as well. I don't know, like, is it concrete on metal? You can just see the metal bars sticking through. But it's all of this has been man-made as a feature, and it's nice to come and explore. It gets a bit dark along the way as well.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it. We don't know if anybody's in here. But everywhere you go, everywhere you turn, it's make a great Santa's Grotto, won't it? But this is just one part of it. As we work our way through...
That just reminds me of the Dungeons movie we did a while back.
Ah. So what we have is... Well, we've got some steps here.
Nice.
So there's a few different levels to things as well.
There's been some thought put through this.
Definitely.
Not just random, is it?
No. And as we continue, there's always somewhere to explore in here. Caves to go in, you see.
Do we need a torch, do you think?
Well, you know, I brought a torch with me.
Oh, fantastic.
So hopefully,
Right.
there we go.
I'll let you go first, just in
Oh, I thought
case
you
somebody
might.
pops out.
Now, how about this? Just watch your head.
Got all the way through there.
Yeah.
It looks tiny from outside.
We've got stairs.
Yeah.
It's quite some feature, isn't it?
Definitely.
Of course, when you look outside, that's where we've come from. So we're at the back of where the house would have been.
Yeah.
Mosaics.
Original, yeah.
I actually don't know. I've not seen anything to verify it, but
Definitely looks old though.
it is old, yeah.
Yeah.
If you think it was handed over the park in 1927,
Yeah, yeah.
it's going to be at least that date, you would think. So readjust the eyes.
Lighting's pretty bad here, but we'll do our best.
I thought we've got a...
Yeah, another entrance or exit. Just shows you how much money this fella had.
Yeah. It's just an unusual place, and I think it's nice to be able to show people.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I seem to remember coming here many years ago, maybe with
Yeah.
kids, and kids loving it, just exploring everywhere.
Well, it doesn't match the rockery I've got in my garden. Look at that.
So the stairs we saw earlier must be what comes up at this side.
It carries on, doesn't it?
It does. We'll come back down this way, but it's great, isn't it? Here you go.
Oh, nice. Can we get to the Alaska?
Yeah, I think you can get through to here. Just watch this step, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, there's a little chair there. So right here we have a feature, which is the drinking fountain.
So just to give you a sort of a scale size, we've seen the bowling greens earlier, but this is a picture of the house as it used to be, and we're stood almost in the exact spot. You can see here is the structure just there, but what a huge house it was. And it's very similar, it's on the lines of Titus Salt's Milner Fields. Again, another building that's disappeared, but with this one there is a newspaper article, 1909, Oakworth House ablaze, outbreaks, the late Sir Isaac Holden's wonderful home, so it burnt down. So just a part of this trip that we've been on, we're in BD7 now, which is just off Legram's Lane, and just out of coincidence, recognise the name? So I brought his picture again because obviously it's named after Sir Isaac Holden, and we're actually not so far off from where his works were in Girlington. In fact, this area here more or less overlooks the valley of where it would have been. So yeah, that's where we go next. So we're now in Girlington, and this is Brownroyd Street, and this is where Isaac Holden's factory were. So this is where Alston Works were originally. It's now I think the distribution area for Grattan warehouse, just beyond the fencing, and we've already been to see where he's buried, and we were on about the grave next to him being Daniel Illingworth, and the factory, the mill that you can see behind, is Daniel Illingworth's. So even though, well, they're buried next to each other, you can see that the factories were next to each other. In the old Bradford newspapers, I did manage to find a picture of the sort of the layout of the works, and we're stood, this is Brownroyd Street, and we're stood about there at the minute. So you can see that the factory was quite a huge concern, and eventually this area became the city goods yard for the train network, and further up the road there used to be the Greyhound Stadium. But all we have now is sort of this overgrown area, which is the grounds for the warehouses, but there's absolutely nothing left of Alston Works, completely gone.